Once upon a time in a bustling city, there was a guy named John. He was incredibly wealthy and flaunted it at every turn. He drove the most impressive cars, wore designer suits, and lived in a mansion that put everyone else's homes to shame. He didn't just take pride in his wealth, he used it to manipulate people. One of the people who had to endure John's arrogance was Vivienne, a hard-working waitress at the city's most prestigious restaurant. Vivienne had dreams of becoming a chef and worked tirelessly to put herself through culinary school. John frequented the restaurant and seized every opportunity to belittle the staff and show off his money. Vivienne, in particular, bore the brunt of his cruelty. One evening, as Vivienne was serving John and his entourage, he decided to take his arrogance to a new level. He announced loudly to the entire restaurant,
"I'm feeling generous tonight. I'll give $10,000 to anyone who can make me a perfect steak."
The challenge hung in the air like an unspoken dare. Vivienne, fueled by anger and determination, decided to accept it. She headed to the kitchen and prepared the finest steak she had ever cooked. She paid meticulous attention to every detail, seasoning it to perfection and grilling it to excellence. When she brought it to John's table, the entire restaurant watched in anticipation. John took one bite, and his face turned bright red. He spat out the steak and exclaimed,
"This is terrible. I wouldn't pay a dime for this garbage."
The restaurant fell silent, and Vivienne's heart sank. She had poured her heart and soul into that steak, and she knew it was flawless. But John's arrogance had won the day. In the days that followed, Vivienne's reputation in the culinary world took a severe hit. Word of her failed attempt to please John had spread like wildfire, and she struggled to find work. She was on the verge of giving up on her dreams when an unexpected opportunity arose. A renowned chef named Robert had heard about the incident and sought out Vivienne. He offered her a chance to work at his prestigious restaurant. Vivienne, initially hesitant, accepted the offer. She poured herself into her work, determined to prove herself to Robert and to herself. Months passed, and Vivienne's culinary skills flourished under Robert's guidance. She became a respected chef in her own right, gaining recognition for her talent and dedication. Her newfound success caught the attention of food critics, and soon she was invited to participate in a prestigious cooking competition. The final round of the competition was a high-stakes cook-off, and the winner would receive a substantial cash prize. As fate would have it, John was one of the judges for the event. He had heard about Vivienne's rise to culinary stardom, but remained dismissive of her talents. Vivienne knew this was her chance for redemption. She poured her heart into creating a spectacular 3-course meal. When the dishes were presented to the judges, including John, he couldn't help but be impressed by the exquisite flavors and presentation. Vivienne's culinary skills had come a long way since that fateful night at his restaurant. As Vivienne presented her spectacular 3-course meal to the judges, including John, the atmosphere in the room seemed to change. The exquisite flavors and presentation of her single dish took everyone on an unexpected culinary journey. The dish before John was a humble-looking plate of chicken and dumplings, a comfort food classic. But as he took the first bite, he was transported back in time, figuratively standing in his mother's warm and cozy kitchen. The aroma and taste of Vivienne's chicken and dumplings instantly reminded him of his mother's signature dish. The tender pieces of chicken were enveloped in a rich, savory gravy that had the perfect balance of herbs and spices. The dumplings were soft and pillowy, soaking up the flavorful sauce. It was a dish that spoke of love and care, just like the meals his mother used to make when he was a child. As John savored each bite, he could almost hear the sound of his mother humming a familiar tune while she cooked. The memories of family gatherings and the feeling of togetherness washed over him. It was as if Vivienne's dish had the power to transport him to a time when his priorities were different, and the pursuit of wealth had not clouded his judgment. By the time he finished the meal, John's heart was heavy with nostalgia and a newfound appreciation for the simple joys of life. He had been deeply moved by Vivian's culinary masterpiece, which not only won his taste buds, but also touched his soul. When the judges cast their votes, Vivian emerged as the winner of the competition. She was awarded the substantial cash prize, and her culinary career soared to new heights. Approaching Vivian after the competition, John extended his hand and said,
I was wrong about you, Vivian. You're an incredible chef, and I apologize for my arrogance.
Vivian, though initially hesitant, shook his hand and replied,
Thank you, John. Sometimes, wealth blinds us to the true worth of people and their abilities. I hope you've learned that true success isn't measured solely by money.
John nodded, humbled by the lesson he had learned. In that moment, both John and Vivian had undergone a transformation. John had been shaken out of his arrogant ways and had rediscovered the importance of humility and genuine human connections. Vivian had triumphed over adversity to achieve her dreams, proving that talent and hard work could overcome any obstacle. It was a story of redemption and the realization that wealth, when used maliciously, could never compare to the richness of character and talent.